What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new live stream. And I'm sure some of you guys are confused. Why am I doing it Tuesday instead of Wednesday? Well, I have a very busy week this week. I actually have family visiting us tomorrow through Saturday, so I might not even make the network, believe it or not. But basically, what's going on is my aunt, uncle, and cousins are visiting us. So I'm gonna be very busy throughout the week. So I wasn't even sure if I'd be able to do a live tomorrow. So I wanted to get it in today. So y'all like, why didn't he go live this week? But get to the chat. Fancast 100. What's up, dude? But yeah, I've got another tier list for this one. It is a Cobra Kai and Karate Kid character tier list. This is not based on as fighters. It is just basically them as characters. Now, I'm gonna try and not go too long because, like the last live, I ranked like all 65 episodes. That went on for 4 hours, and I didn't finish that until midnight. And in the East Coast for you guys, that was 3 a.m. for you guys. So yeah, I'll try to make it shorter. Plus, we have the NBA Finals to talk about, so I want to get into that as well. But we'll start off with the tier list. And I will not be ranking the Karate Kid Legends characters because I have not seen Karate Kid Legends, so I have no idea what those characters are even like. So don't be surprised if you don't see Karate Kid Legends. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, starting off with Daniel LaRusso, the OG Karate Kid. Now, through the movies, I think he was a pretty solid character. Obviously, the main character. Obviously, he's in the original trilogy. I thought the first two movies, pretty good story. New kid gets bullied, meets his father figure and Mr. Miyagi. So then, he learns karate, and it's a great underdog story. And Karate Kid 2, I like that he's like there supporting Miyagi in Okinawa when his father passes away. Thought that was done very well. Karate Kid 3, they made him look like a lunatic, like he was just being dumb for like no reason and just completely disrespecting Miyagi. But I like how he's able to overcome fear. I thought that was done very well. And we don't see him again until Cobra Kai. Season 1, at times, is kind of annoying, kind of just, trying to screw over Johnny for like no reason. And just acting all paranoid about Cobra Kai being back and stuff, which in a way he does have a point. Season 2, I thought he got better at that. You have the whole Johnny Daniel rivalry. but like near the end, like he starts, to kind of see that Johnny is trying to change for the better. Um, Season three, I thought he was really good. Love the moments he had with Sam and stuff like that. And the when he went to Okinawa for the first time, Kumiko reading him the letters from Miyagi, and him and Chosen, making up after 30 years. Um, and like he's able to take down Kreese. Dana's overall good character. I think you have to put him in S tier. I think. I'm not really sure though. Next, we have Lucille. Lucille, she's a fine character. They don't really do that much with her. She's like a C character. She's Daniel's mom. She's there throughout like the Karate Kid movies and a little bit of Cobra Kai, but we don't see that much of her. Um, so there's really nothing much for me to say on that. All right, Mr. Miyagi. Obviously, you got to put him in S tier. Um, so I probably put him over Daniel. Miyagi's just very iconic character in the franchise. He's a great father figure to Daniel. He's got a great backstory. Really good fighter as well. But when you think of Karate Kid, you think of Mr. Miyagi because he's in all the the main movies and stuff, and like he's the most iconic character in the entire show, or not show, the franchise is what I meant to say. Um, and the stuff he teaches Daniel, the way he takes Daniel in as his son, it's really great. So yeah, he's a great character. All right, next we got Allie. I think Allie's okay. She was a cool love interest in the first Karate Kid, and I liked her a lot better in Cobra Kai season three, where she helps bring Johnny and Daniel together. Um, she's kind of like the peacemaker between them. So I actually liked her scenes a lot better in Cobra Kai. But other than that, we really don't see that much of her. Um, so I think B is fair. Maybe you can argue C, but they really don't do that much with her. All right, next you got Johnny Lawrence. I am going to put him in S tier over Mr. Miyagi. Might be controversial. I don't care. Obviously, if you're just talking about Karate Kid, he's an antagonist and all that. But Cobra Kai, like the show is about him. Like how like his comeback from being a loser to being a winner, not just in a tournament, but as in life, is phenomenal. Like his story is so good. Like one tournament loss like ruined his life. Like it broke him down, and having Kreese. having Kreese, a man he viewed as, a father figure, call him a loser, and almost choke him to death. Just really broke him down, and like he trusted no one for like 30 years, and he's not there for his son's birth because his mom died, so it really broke him down. And to see him like get his life together, um, and take Miguel under his wing as his student, becoming a sensei, and just being a good mentor to Miguel, and like see them change together for the better, and like him seeing Miguel become like him in the 80s, which bothered him. So he set Miguel back on the right path, and his whole like journey throughout Cobra Kai of him becoming a family man and becoming a winner is so phenomenal. I love how they did Johnny. So yeah, he definitely goes in the S tier. I mean, loved his dynamic with Miguel, loved his dynamic with Robbie, especially at the end of season 4, going into season 5. Now, season 6, parts 1 and 2, I did not like what they did with his character, where like everything they built him towards, they just throw it away and just have him act like a maniac and just not care about Daniel at all and just do what he wants to. But then part 3, they put him back on track and like he respects Daniel like he should have. And he has a great, he has great scenes with Kreese in episode 13, which was done very well. Some of the best scenes of the show. And lost my train of thought. Then like the last episode, he was phenomenal. Or like he goes in there, where he goes into that fight with Wolf with fear, for the first time ever, and it's Daniel, um, who gets him to lock in, and I love how like instead of taking a step back or step forwards, he steps back and he wins the fight as the underdog because Wolf was the more advanced fighter. Um, so like I love how they bring Johnny's story full circle. Like it's just really good. Um, Next we have Bobby. Bobby, I thought was, I think he's a pretty good character. Um, Probably put him over Allie. I think he has a better impact than Allie, especially on Johnny's character. And I think he's the best out of the OG Cobras, besides Johnny, of course. But yeah, I love his scenes with Johnny in Cobra Kai in season 3 and season 6. So he's a very likable character. Jimmy will put in D. They don't do much with him. He barely has any lines in Karate Kid, and he has a few in Cobra Kai, but I only see him once. Tommy, I might put him in over Lucille. Had that iconic line in Karate Kid. Put him in a body bag, and then obviously Cobra Kai. I like his talk with Johnny on how like, hey, you still have time to find someone new. And unfortunately, he passes away in the show, and the actor passed away in September 2019, unfortunately. So, RIP to him. But yeah, he's a well written character. Um, well, I probably shouldn't say that, but he's a solid character, but doesn't really do much. But I love his conversation with Johnny in season 2. Um, then we have Dutch. Dutch, I'm going to put in D. Really doesn't do much. He's just a cool character, I guess. Doesn't really do that much, but yeah. Then we got Kreese. Kreese, thinking about putting him, I might put him in S tier, to be honest, because he's just a great villain, and he has a great story. Like obviously the Karate Kid 1 and Karate Kid 3, like he's there as a villain, and he genuinely believes what he's doing is right, and he just wants what's best for his students. He doesn't want his students to go through the same experiences that he went through. Um, and like I love the story in Cobra Kai where it's season 2 he feels regret and he's like broken down. Like yes, he is manipulating Johnny in a way, but his feelings are true. And like I love him. I love his villain arc in season 3 and his Vietnam's backstory. I thought that was done very well. Um, season 4, he kind of like you know um, triggers Silver's PTSD, but like near the end, he does something he'd never done before. Put Cobra Kai, the Cobra Kai dojo on the line just for Tori's sake. Like he's never done that for anybody. Um, and then like season 5, like the whole prison scenes, like him feeling guilt and regret and just regretting the way he taught Johnny. And I thought that was done really well. And then season 6, parts 1 and 2. I wasn't a fan of how they made him a villain again. It was just so weird. Where like in Korea, he has this like hallucination scene, and he's like he's hallucinating Johnny, and he's like, "You're the only one I ever showed mercy to," and which is not true. Like he showed mercy to Tori when he allowed her to fight her own way. Um, and like they completely walked back on his redemption, so they like put it on pause because they needed a villain because Silver wasn't available, and then they pick it back up in part 3, which like it just doesn't feel congruent at all. But um love what they did with him in part 3 where like he's regretful um of like everything. He's like, oh, I can never be a good guy, it's too late for me, da 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 da. And then he apologizes to Tori and then Johnny, like I mentioned earlier. And yes, I don't like the way he goes out, but still, I like the message that they're sending, where like he's going out protecting Johnny and his family. So I think he deserves to go in S tier. All right, next we have, I believe this is Sato. I think this is Sato, right? Yeah, Sato. He's kind of tough to rank because they don't do that much with him. I might rank him behind these guys because like he's kind of over the top just a little bit, and like we never get to see him fight, unfortunately, because the actor passed away. Um, but like they just don't do that much with him, so we don't know like how good he was, and like he's just kind of over the top. And then like when Miyagi saves his life in the storm, they're like best friends again out of nowhere. It's kind of weird, but I do think he's kind of funny, so I think I'll put him in D tier for now. All right, Chosen. Chosen is interesting because before season 6, I'd probably put him in S tier. Um, I think he's a good villain in Karate Kid 2. He really pushes Daniel to his limits. Then we see him again in season 3 of Cobra Kai. I thought he was done very, very well. Like how he was disgraced and he felt horrible, shame, regret. And then like he got his life back on track. And then obviously, he makes up with Daniel 30 years later. And then like we see him again at the end of season 4 to team up with Daniel, take down Silver. Then season 5, he was really good, where he helped out Daniel, like his dynamic with Johnny, and the way he fought Silver. He definitely won that fight, and he was fighting drunk. Um, so I thought, he was great in season 5. Season 6, however, they turned him into a comedy character, which I just did not like. Where like they have him, like he doesn't really do that much in part 1, and he just disappears for no. Well, he goes to Okinawa. They don't even explain it, and then when he comes back, he comes in all drunk, screaming like a lunatic over Kumiko, and just starts smashing flowers. They kind of just turn him into a comedy character, which I just do not like. And then part 3, he learns that Kumiko likes him, but as a friend, not a romantic interest. And then they just put him with Kim Dae-yoon, which makes zero sense. They're completely opposite and hated each other in season 5, and then just start making out of nowhere. Then they just make that couple end game at the end of the show, which I just don't agree with. I just thought it was weird. But yeah, if it wasn't for like the season 6 stuff, he'd definitely be in S tier. But I have to put him in A tier. Then we have Kumiko. Kumiko, I like better than Allie, to be honest. But other than that, she really doesn't do much. I thought she was, the best love interest for Daniel in the Karate Kid movies, and all of her role in season 3 of Cobra Kai, where like she reconnects with Daniel and like reads Mr. Miyagi's letters for him. Like that was all great and stuff, and she brings him and Chosen together. But other than that, she just doesn't really do that much. Then we have Yukie, Mr. Miyagi's love interest. Just nothing much to say about her. I think she's an okay character, but it's not much to say about her. Then we have the lady that Daniel saved from the typhoon, and she comes back in season 3 and saves Daniel's business. That's fine. I thought that was good, but there's really nothing much to say about her as a character, though. All right, then we got Terry Silver. Terry Silver is probably like one of the most iconic villains, not just in the Karate Kid franchise, but just in pop culture in general. Where like he was friends with Kreese in the war, and the PTSD really affected him. And then in Karate Kid 3, he's a maniac, like he's a lunatic. And obviously season 4 we get context of that, but he starts out as a changed man, but then slowly descends back into the madman he was, but even worse. And the thing with Silver is he knows what he's doing is wrong, but he accepts it. He gets a thrill out of it, and he enjoys being a psychopath, and he just enjoys being evil. And like I thought he was done phenomenal in season 4 and season 5. He was a great villain in season 5, and he was a good sensei to Kenny in season 5. And then, the way he just gets into Daniel's head and, makes Daniel look like a lunatic, while he looks like the angel. And season 6, specifically part 3, where like they're really sick and like he's dying, and he needs this tournament win. He needs to go out on top, and then he obviously doesn't get that because he gets blown up. So like I don't like how they end Kreese and Silver's characters, but Silver as a villain is phenomenal, and he's one of the best villains in pop culture. And obviously as a fighter, Silver's better than Kreese. But as a character, I do like Kreese's character arc more than Silver. But that's just me. Mike Barnes is next. They don't really do that much with Mike. I think he's a good fighter, and I think he's a solid character. But I like how he makes he puts fear into Daniel in Karate Kid 3. I think he's a great antagonist. And then season 5 of Cobra Kai, they don't do that much with him, but they do give him like a nice little redemption thing. of like how he felt regret after, Karate Kid 3 and how he was banned from karate, and he had to find something new, and he kind of became like a good husband. Apparently his wife left him after his obviously the furniture store burned down because of Silver. So he starts acting like a lunatic and spirals out of control, and then he goes to fight Silver, and he puts in good work. He gets knocked out, but then when he's conscious again, he saves Johnny. Um, and then other than that, I liked what they did with him in season 6. I thought he was written pretty well. I thought he started a pretty solid role. But other than that, there's really not that much to say about him. But yeah, the fact that he's remotely close to Chosen is pretty sad. Then we have Snake. Snake, I don't think anyone cares. Snake's only in Karate Kid 3, and then we learned that he passed away in season 6, so there's really nothing much to say about him. Uh, Jessica Andrews, I thought she was okay. She's just another, not even a love interest. I mean, Daniel was interested, but they don't actually get together because she already had a boyfriend. So I think she has a nice friendship with Daniel in Karate Kid 3, and then season 5 we find out that she was Amanda's cousin, and she's the reason they got married, I guess, or like got them to meet, and then they ended up getting married. So I think that's cool, and she gives Amanda, their perspective of how dangerous Terry Silver really is. Um, I might put her over. I might put her top of D because she does have an impact in a way. But other than that, not that much to say. Julie Pierce. Oh boy, here we go. I guess I'll put her in E. Just nothing much to say about her. We only see her in the next Karate Kid, and it's really nothing much to say. That's all I really see her, and there's really no character growth for her. And her boyfriend Eric, we'll put in F. No one really cares. Ned, horrible villain. No one cares. Dugan was horrible. I mean, he's played by Michael Ironside, and he was just downright terrible. We got the monks. No one cares about them. They sing Julie happy birthday, and that's pretty much it. All right, then we have the Karate Kid 2010. Oh boy. Now, Karate Kid 2010 isn't a bad movie. It's just a copy and paste of the original Karate Kid. So I kind of just disrespect you as a fan, but Mr. Han is a good character. Okay. So I feel like you have to put him in A tier. It's not what I meant. Not you, Julie. You go down here. Now, yes, I like his story of how he was like a broken man and, all that. And he, mentors Dre. Like, that's cool and all that. Basically just similar to Mr. Miyagi. But yeah, I don't really have much to say. I heard he was not good in like the Karate Kid Legends. Like I heard Jackie Chan's acting was terrible, along with Ralph's. Then we got Dre, just a copy and paste of Daniel. I guess we'll put him there. Chang was a good villain, so we'll put him probably there. And then we have Dre's love interest. Really nothing much to say about her. We got Dre's mom. I thought she was all right, I guess. Then we got the crease of that movie. He was intimidating, so He was good as an intimidating villain, so I guess we can put him there. Um, Pretty much like the crease of that movie. And then we got Sid. We're on the Cobra Kai now. Um, Sid, he's funny, but he's just there to be an a-hole pretty much. Probably put him like top of E, or I might put him in D actually, because he does impact Johnny's story in a way. And he is played by Ed Asner. R.I.P. to him. All right, then we got Homeless Lynn. She's funny. Probably put over Dre. She's funny. All right, Dimitri. Dimitri, seasons 1 through 5. He's a pretty good character. He's a pretty entertaining character. He can be annoying at times, but he's funny. Season 6, he was horrible. Like, he was just annoying for no reason. Like, he just made a big deal over Hawk not going to MIT or considering not going to MIT. And, he just completely blew it out of proportion for, no reason. It was just so annoying in parts 1 and 2. And they don't do much with him in part 3. So we're going to go ahead and put him in C. Dimitri as a character is just unbearable. All right, then we have Hawk. Hawk, this is a rough one for me because Hawk had so much potential. Because, like, season 1, you have him as Eli. Johnny motivates him to flip the script. He turns into Hawk. He gains confidence. He improves a lot as a fighter. Season 2, he's kind of just being a jerk, and he slowly turns into the thing that he hates, bullies. So he loses Moon. He has a moment with Dimitri where they're getting along first time in a while, but then Hawk gets insecure, and then he fights Dimitri at the school and loses. And season 3, he has a great arc where he starts off as the bully, but then after Kreese starts to get rid of his friends in Cobra Kai, and he breaks Dimitri's arm, he starts feeling regret and conflicted, and he starts to realize Kreese doesn't have his best interests at heart. And then he goes on, he ends up saving Dimitri at the house fight, and he says, "I'm sorry." So I love his arc in season 3. And in season 4, he's still kind of not the best guy, harassing Kenny. So Cobra Kai cuts off his mohawk, and then he gets humbled, and he's all depressed, and Dimitri's there for him. So then he decides to join Miyagi-Do, and I wish they did more with that. But he bounces back at the All Valley. He beats Robbie and becomes a champion, and he wins it as Eli instead of Hawk. Thought that was great. Then season 5 and 6, he gets completely disrespected. Like, season 5, they don't do much with him. And then, like, episode 8, you have him lose to frickin' Kenny. Like, you have him go, time to uncage the Hawk, and then he just gets embarrassed by Kenny. Like, you can't do that. Like, that's just disrespectful. And season 6, they don't do much with him. Like, you just have him argue with Dimitri, which gets annoying. And then, like, you kind of have him cucked, basically, where, like they don't give him much in season 6. He'd be a lot higher if it weren't for the last 2 seasons, but still a pretty good character. What the heck? The universe galaxy. Can you guys talk about the topic of Michael Jordan fans being the worst sports fans of all time? It's an interesting topic. I've tested it many times on my page. A lot of people get into it. I mean, Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player of all time, but okay. All right. Next up is Kyler, he's an okay character. He's kind of just there for comedy, and he's kind of an idiot. Um, but he's funny. Then they give him like a redemption in season 6, which I don't know why they did that. They didn't need to do that, but um, it is what it is. But yeah, just kind of there for comedy. I think he's an all right character. Okay, and we got Miguel. Already know where he's going. I don't even need to say that much. I mean, Miguel is a phenomenal character. You make a case he's the best character in the show. Um, I might put him over Terry Silver, to be honest. Um, just a great arc across the show where he's kind of a blend of Johnny and Daniel, where like he goes from like the bully kid, takes on karate, ends up becoming a champion, and he's gone through so much. Like season 2, um, season 2, he gets kicked over the balcony and is in a um, coma. Season 3, he wakes up from that coma, but he's paralyzed, and Johnny helps him be able to walk again. And like the journey, um, he goes from um, to being able to walk and fight again at the end of season 3, and then obviously gets back with Sam. And then um, season 4, they don't do that much with him, but he does deal with conflict with Johnny and like wondering who his dad is. And then season 5, he goes off to see his dad or meet his dad, finds out the truth about him, realizes Johnny is his real dad. Um, Makes amends with Robbie. Um, Ends up with Sam again. Um, Season 6, I don't like the whole college arc, but part 3, I thought he was great. But yeah, Miguel's one of the best characters throughout the entire show. Um, so I think he deserves to be an S tier. Um, then we have Brooks. I mean, he's funny, so I guess we can put him over. Um, I guess he's kind of funny. I guess we'll just put him there. Oh boy, Sam LaRusso. Oh boy. Okay. Sam is complicated. Now, my buddy Noah, Cobra Kai Karate, he did a like 25-minute video talking about why Sam is the most frustrating character, so I recommend you go check it out. But yeah. So Sam's kind of frustrating because obviously season 1 she has good moments. She's introduced as like a good person with a good heart, but she has her flaws. Like she tries to fit in with the popular girls, and like she's kind of conflicted. And she dates Kyler, then she realizes that Kyler's been bullying Miguel. She doesn't like that, so she dumps Kyler, which you have a problem with that. But then you don't do anything when your childhood best friend Aisha gets humiliated by Yasmin. You don't say anything there. So then she finds out about what Kyler was doing and saying about her, so she stands up to him. Obviously Miguel defends her, and she ends up being interested in Miguel. It's like then they get together, and then like the whole Then after that, she's conflicted on whether or not she should tell her dad Daniel that she's with Miguel or whatever. Um, but like he's in Cobra Kai and Daniel hates Cobra Kai, so she's kind of conflicted about that. Um, so then she meets Robbie and like the whole situation of where Amanda takes her phone so she can't communicate with Miguel. So then she goes to the party with Robbie, and then Miguel takes it the wrong way because like she runs down the hill with Robbie holding his hand, giggling. Miguel's drunk, takes it the wrong way. That situation escalates, and then Miguel accidentally hits her, which yes, Miguel's in the wrong for that. But Sam completely writes him off. Miguel tries to apologize, but she doesn't apologize back, and the whole situation gets worse. Season 2 is one of her worst seasons, just completely annoying, really annoying. Miguel tries to reach out and apologize. She completely writes him off. She starts bonding with Robbie more. So then Tori gets involved, and then she kind of escalates that, which I don't think she initiated that rivalry, but she definitely didn't try to de-escalate it. Um, she starts bonding with Robbie. They end up getting together, and then, her and Tori get into it, and then she criticizes Miguel for being with Tori. She criticizes Miguel for being with Tori, and then Miguel's like, "Oh, you kind of wrote me off, so why do you care who I date?" And then, Tori gets jealous, and then that situation blows up, and then they amp up that rivalry, and she engages in drinking game with Tori. And then she starts to get more upset, starts to drink more. She gets snippy at Robbie, and then she gets snippy at Aisha, and then Miguel goes to talk to her. Now, let me make it clear. Miguel kissed her, okay? She allowed it to happen, though, because she was drunk. And then they kind of are both in the wrong for doing that. So she had an opportunity to tell Robbie, but, the bell rang and, she kind of just faltered there. Then Tori starts a fight with her. Robbie finds out about the kiss. Robbie still defends her. Sam beats Tori, and then Miguel, obviously I mentioned that earlier. Season 3, I thought was her strongest season. I loved her PTSD arc. I love, the development of like her not just being, a drama queen for once, and like, her being on her own arc and like overcoming her fear of Tori. I think season 3 is her best season. However, she did make some mistakes here and there, like the way she handled the Robbie situation horribly. Like, I like that she gives Miguel an octopus card in the hospital. Like, that's good and all. And I like her stepping up in Miyagi-Do as like a leader of like them standing against Cobra Kai and defending themselves. And then obviously then later on, like, she sees Miguel again, and they start reconnecting, fixing their relationship. That's fine and all, and I like that they work together to uncancel the All Valley and all that. Then you're about to kiss him, and then Robbie shows up out of nowhere, And the way you handled that was horribly. It's like you're part of the reason Robbie was even in there, and you know you just stop you stop messaging him. Um, you don't try to visit him, and here you are with Miguel, and like yes, Robbie is wrong for trying to hit Miguel, but then the next day you're kissing Miguel again. It's like what the frick, like just some of the stuff she does is just comes off narcissistic or whatever. Like it just looks bad. But um, yeah. And then her and Miguel were together to get Miyagi thing together. Season 4 was her worst season. Like I don't care what anyone says. Like she was unbearable that season. Like she started off fine, but then you know she like I thought she was fine in episode 3, but episode 4, where like she just is so like miserable to be at that birthday party with Amanda. She's like, there's a million other places I'd rather be on Saturday. But then the minute Tori's there in a mermaid outfit, she's like, oh, did I say the last place I want to be? I feel like this is the best place I want to be on a Saturday. This is how I want to spend my Saturday. It's like, what the frick? And then she like just starts harassing Tori, which yes, Tori does deserve it in a way, but it's just unnecessary. There's no need to do that. Like it was just ridiculous. And then obviously 2 episodes later, she has like the cringiest lines, like "I'm coming for you, bitch." Da-da-da-da-da. And like, you think I broke your heart, you broke mine too, which made no sense. Like you're the one who cheated on Robbie almost twice. So it's just like, Sam, relax. Like, in season 5, she starts off pretty much the same, where like Miguel calls her, and then she starts getting mad at him, and saying like, why weren't you at the tournament? Like I needed you there to support me against Tori, and like she just makes it about her. And then 2 episodes later, she's still mad at Miguel. She makes the whole situation awkward and then breaks up with him. I'm like, dude, this kid just got crying because of his dad, and now you're making him cry again, and he just got you a necklace. Like, yeah, she didn't know that, but still. And obviously, episode 4, she makes the whole thing is like awkward for no reason. And then obviously, like, she gets back into karate in episode 5 and 6, and then her and Miguel start being civil. And then, she has a good moment against Devin in episode 8, but then at the end of episode 8, when she plans on getting back with Miguel, she sees Miguel kissing another girl, starts having a freaking panic attack, starts freaking out, and starts randomly erratically typing on her phone. Then Tori shows up and, confesses about Silver cheating. Then she attacks Tori. Like, yeah, she has every right to be upset about it, but like that was just completely unnecessary. And and then she's mad at Miguel for kissing the other girl. You broke up with him, so why are you mad at him? Like, he was single. Like, you broke up with him. He's allowed to see other girls. Like, later on, I like how she matures in that episode after that, though, and then she goes to Tori's place to talk with her. Then they team up. In season 6, they do absolutely nothing with her character. Like, she's a straight up background character. Like if you look at what she does in season 6, like it's revolved around other people. Like she's either with Miguel or talking to Robbie or talking to Tori. Like that's basically it. Like she really doesn't do anything that special. Like in part 2, she like lectures Robbie. She lashes out at Johnny, which is fine. She gets in an awkward situation with Axel. Then in part 3, like I do like her going to Okinawa and like that emotional goodbye she had with Daniel and Amanda, but yeah, I don't know. She had potential and they completely wasted it. Mary Mauser's a good actress, so no hate against her. But in hindsight, it's not that special of a character, unfortunately. Um, Mr. Han might be over her. Maybe I'll put her on top of B, maybe. I don't know. But they really don't do that much. Moon's okay. Um, SE tier is fine. She's an okay character. Yasmin, I just like Moon better. All right, Amanda's pretty good across the show. Might put her over Bobby. I think that's fair. It's a voice of reason for Daniel. She's a good wife. She has a few moments that I wasn't a fan of, like the whole season 5 of her getting manipulated by Silver and then just leaving Daniel for like a whole episode. And then she comes back and obviously she apologizes to him, but still, like, I did not like the way they did that. Okay, Anthony. Frick. Okay, we'll just put him in E. Really doesn't. I mean, I might put him over Yasmin. Well, put him over. I don't do that much with him. Aisha, she's an okay character. She's in the first 2 seasons. Then the actress left, and they probably weren't going to do much with her anyway because of Tori. No, I might put her in C. I think here's fine. She's okay, I guess. She's like a main character in the first 2, and then the actress left because she had personal stuff. I mean, they weren't going to do much with her character anyway because of Tori, but and then they have her come back in season 4. That's the last time we see her. And she gives Sam advice, and then Sam does the complete opposite. So, yeah, nothing much to say about her. Tom Cole's just an a-hole. Louie and Anush are funny. Probably put them probably like around here, probably. They're funny characters. Then you have Carmen. I like how she impacts Johnny's character. That's all she is, really. Probably maybe put her over. We'll put Bobby over her. I think she's an okay character. I think she has a good impact on Johnny's character, but she's good for Miguel, but she really doesn't do much outside of that, but she's an alright character. Then we got Yaya or Rosa. Obviously, she's a really funny character, so I might put her over Kyler. I might put her over Lucille, to be honest. I think she's an okay character. All right, Robbie. Now, most people think that Miguel is the better character, but fuck it, I might put Robbie over Daniel, to be honest. Like, Robbie has arguably the best arc in the show besides Johnny. Like, you have him grow up without Johnny. His mom raises her by herself. He has to handle that. Like, season 1, you have him, get back at Johnny because he sees Johnny hugging Miguel and giving him the gi. So he decides to get back at Johnny by going to work for Daniel at LaRusso Auto. But he ends up training with Daniel and takes his teachings to heart. And obviously Daniel finds out that Robbie's Johnny's son and, thinks that, he was there as like a con or something. But that gets resolved. Season 2, I just didn't like some of the stuff he was doing, but he was growing as like a better person and as a good boyfriend to Sam and stuff. And then season 3, you feel bad for him. You just keep breaking him down. And Juvie obviously feels horrible for the Miguel stuff. Kreese gives him advice. He takes it to heart and he strikes first. And he gains Sean's respect. Then when he gets out, when he goes to see Sam, you feel bad for him. Obviously connects with Tori, and that episode earlier. So then after, the whole Sam situation blows up, he feels like he has nowhere else to go. So he goes to Kreese, and then Kreese, takes him in and, teaches him a couple things. And then obviously Tori and Hawk show up, and then, Robbie and Tori start to connect more. And like by the end of that season, he joins Kreese's Cobra Kai and goes against Johnny and all that. And season 4, he's kind of, conflicted. I wish they went all in on the No Mercy Cobra Kai arc. But, he takes Kenny under his wing and mentors him. And he starts to realize that, being a mentor isn't as easy, is very challenging, very difficult. So, he fights for the right reasons, he loses. He fights for the wrong reasons, he loses again. And I love the scene he has with Johnny at the end of the season, where he's breaking down, crying, and all that. And they make up, and I love their dynamic in season 5. His arc in season 5 was done very well. Him standing up to Silver, him trying to get Tori and Kenny out of there. Season 6, I felt like he could have been a little bit better. But love how they ended his character. Yes, I don't like him losing 3 times. But the conversation he has with Johnny in episode 13, where it's like, yeah, I didn't win a trophy, but, I still want, karate gave me a lot, girlfriend, dad, family, brother. That was all done very well. And he gets the sponsorship with Tori at the end. So, yeah, I love how they did Robbie's character. So, let me just get these guys out of the way. They're funny characters, I guess. Trey and Cruz. Robbie's mom, Shannon. I think she's an okay character. Didn't like her at first, but she does get better. But she has some decent scenes, so we'll just put her there, I guess. They don't really do much with her. Armand, I think his name is. Yeah, he's okay, I guess. All right, Bert. Bert's awesome. Bert's a funny character. And I guess we can put him over Kyler, I guess. But he's a funny character. Okay, then we have, I forgot his name. Xander Stone. Yeah, no one cares. All right, Stingray's funny. Stingray, we have to put at least a C tier. I'll probably put him over Kyler. Might put him higher than this. Obviously, he affects Johnny in season 6, but yeah. I'll put him over Lucille. Probably he's funnier than Rosa. Probably keep him there. He's funny. All right, Tori, my favorite character. No bias here. I think she goes in A tier or S tier. Probably not over Silver. Probably put Silver there. See, I can't put her over Kreese. But I feel like she goes over Daniel, though, is the thing. So probably go like this. Probably put Miguel over Daniel and then Tori. Yeah, but obviously Tori didn't show up until season 2. She started off as a solid character with a little bit of background. I like how she tells Miguel that that I've had to fight for everything I got. Obviously, they turn her into a lunatic at the end of that season. And in season 3, they show some gray areas with her in episode 2 with Kreese, where Kreese relates to her because she's a troubled kid, dealing with a sick parent. Then she comes back in that dojo, and then after that episode, she starts acting like a lunatic again, going after Sam. See a little bit of Gray with her in episode 6, where she has a conversation with Hawk about the whole Miguel thing. And she talks to Miguel at her job, and then that kind of blows up. And then after that, she talks to Robbie, starts connecting with him. And the end of that season, she breaks into Sam's house like a lunatic, attacks Sam with nunchucks, and then, Sam ends up winning that fight, and then Tori had some cringe lines in that episode. And then season 4, I love what they do with her in season 4, where she starts out pissed about the loss. Then she meets Amanda. Amanda threatens her, then Tori stands her ground. So then so Tori ends up getting fired. Then Kreese goes to defend Tori. Basically, reveals to Amanda that her mom's sick and she doesn't have anybody to take care of her like Sam does. So, Amanda feels bad and gets her groceries. Then Tori gets upset about that. Then you got obviously have the whole Sam stuff, and then Amanda, saying to Tori there's no shame in asking for help. So later on that season, Tori takes a big step and goes to Amanda for help, and starts to turn around throughout the season, and then she forms a relationship with Robbie, which was done very, very well. And how she says she just wants to prove she's the best at something. And she earns that win, even though the refs cheated with Silver. She still earned that win. She fought clean and with honor. She even goes to Sam and asks if she's okay. And season Okay. My computer just restarted for no reason. So I don't know what that was all about. And the AC just turned on. All right. As I was saying, I was talking about Tori, right? But yeah, season 5, she's conflicted about being in Silver's Cobra Kai and the All Valley win. She feels pretty much nothing about it. She feels like she didn't earn it. and then throughout the season, like she's only in there to help Kreese, um, but then she's becoming someone she doesn't want to be. So then then the Psycho Taika comes in, um, come the Psycho Taika thing comes around. Um, Devin joins, and she doesn't want Devin in there. She wants to keep Devin safe, so she takes on Devin and mentors her, similar to how Robbie mentored Kenny. So I like the whole story scene, and they can relate about the whole mom situation. And then they just put her through the ringer where like she's forced to punch the stone dummy, and she's forced to break her hand against her will. Um, and over they Kim does that to her over her feelings for Robbie, and then like she teams up with Sam, and they have a nice team up fight against Kim, and then she gets back with Robbie, and that's a great moment. And season 6, I thought she was solid. She was probably like the best out of the teens in part 1. Where like she had some solid moments in episode 1 and episode 3. They don't do that much with her in episode 4. Episode 5, I thought Peyton's acting was phenomenal. In episode 5, obviously I hate the end where like everything, season 4 and 5 built up towards her leaving Cobra Kai and joining Miyagi-Do. Then they just throw that away and throw her back into Cobra Kai, and then obviously the whole drama between her and Robbie of like Robbie hooking up with Zara and Robbie getting paranoid. Well, can't really blame Robbie because Tori didn't clarify it very well. Robbie thinking Tori's with Quan, but she's not. And then they have to clear up that whole thing. And then like I love her and Sam's relationship in season 6. I just felt it was kind of weird where like right after season 5, they're all buddy out of nowhere. Then they start lashing out at each other, and then they apologize, which was good. I like that they apologized to each other, but it was way out of place though, And then obviously, and then part 3, love her and Sam's conversation. So she gets back in the tournament. I love Kreese apologizing to her. And then obviously she goes back to Cobra Kai. She knocks out Zara and becomes a champion and wins it, legitimately this time. I just wish they showed how much more that trophy meant to her. And, she's back with Robbie, and she gets to pursue a career in karate with Robbie. I thought that was awesome. So, yeah, I love how they ended her character. So, really good character. Then we have the pawn shop guy. I think he's a solid character. He's a funny character. I think he's all right. I think he's a funny character, but that's pretty much it. Chris is okay, I guess. Doesn't really do that much. Yeah, they don't do that much with his character. And he has some funny scenes with Ass Face, which he's right there. Terrible fighter, but he's funny. Then you have, forget his name, Nate. Yeah, doesn't really do that much. Piper, nobody cares. Sean's a solid character. I think he's a bit overrated sometimes. But I think he's an all right character. I think he's a good character, but I'd probably take him over Kyler. I think he's a cool character, but people overrate him as a fighter sometimes. Then we have Betsy. She impacts Kreese's story, so I guess you can put her over Jimmy, I guess. Mm, actually, no, we'll put her in E. Actually, she does affect Kreese's story though. All right, Captain Turner, kind of the same deal. He's a good villain. He affects Kreese's story a lot. All right, then we have Kenny. Now Kenny had potential, but it just leads nowhere. Like he pretty much like goes out with um, he goes out flipping off Silver, and then they don't give him one line in uh, part three. Like they really like he had potential, and it just didn't really lead anywhere. Unfortunately, like, he's kind of like a cringy villain in like end of season 4, season 5, and they really don't do that much with him in season 6. Devin, oh boy, I thought she was an alright character in 4 and 5, but season 6 she just gets annoying. I guess top of F I get. Well, I'd probably take over Brooks, I guess. Maybe over Aisha, but yeah, Devin's just not that special of a character. I got Vanessa. Vanessa's okay, I guess. Yeah, we'll put him lower than that. Put her lower than that. Probably over Snake. All right, then we have Hector. Karate's favorite character. Whoops, I didn't mean to rank Axel on accident. All right, we already know where Hector's going. Nah, I'm kidding. Yeah, Hector, we only see him for 2 episodes. Probably, I mean, I might take him over Piper, to be honest. But yeah, obviously Miguel meets him, realizes he's a bad dude, and yeah, yeah. Since they don't bring him back out for season 6, his character really leads nowhere. Like they don't even bring him up again after the whole Mexico trip or whatever. So yeah, they don't even bring him up again at all after season 5. So the point of his character is kind of meaningless. So that story just leads nowhere. Yes, Hector, the bane of Christ's existence. Yeah. Yeah, then we have Kim Dae-yoon. Kim Dae-yoon's weird because they set her up as a good villain in season 5, and in season 6 they don't do much with her. Like she's kind of like a gray character, and then they just put her with Chosen for absolutely no reason, and they end up being Endgame when their ideologies are completely different and they're completely different people. And yeah, I'm not a fan of that. It just happened out of nowhere for no reason. C is probably the best I can do for her character. Yes, she has a good backstory and all that, but she's really don't do that much with her character. Then you have this guy. I don't think anybody cares. Kim Sung Young. He's just so stupid. Like he's just walking around 100 years old, hitting Kreese with a cane, and just yapping about a bunch of baloney. Like it's so stupid, but at least he's funny. Just the way he talks. But yeah, probably I'd put him over Sato, to be honest. I didn't have Quan. I think Quan's a great villain. Kind of a mix of Mike Barnes and Chosen. he got into Robbie's head pretty good. But yeah, he did. He was a legit threat. Um, might put him over Sato. Actually, I might have him over. I might put him like top of D. Maybe I should probably I'll put him over. Put him over. Probably the highest I can have him. Kind of overrated. Yoon's okay, I guess. He's a good fighter, but as a character, doesn't really do much. Wolf, I thought was really good. He was a really good villain. Loved what they gave him. I don't like that he was the final villain. It should have been Silver, but probably put him top of C. I think he was a really good villain for Johnny. All right, then we have Axel. That Axel was solid. I thought it was a good antagonist. Might put him here. But yeah, I just wish that his rivalry with Miguel was more explored, more dived into. It just felt completely one-sided. Miguel beat him pretty convincingly, so I just wish he was more of a threat to Miguel. But yeah, he's more of a Terminator kind of a character. Great fighter. And then Zara. I fucking hate Zara. Oh my god, I hate Zara. As a character, she's kind of entertaining as a character. I get she's probably better than Brooks as a character. Probably better than Aisha. Probably better than Devin. She's probably the highest I can put her. And yeah, then obviously I didn't put Karate Kid Legends because I did not watch Karate Kid Legends. But yeah, top 10. 1 is Johnny, 2 Miyagi, 3 Robbie, 4 Kreese, 5 Silver, 6 Miguel, 7 Tori, 8 Daniel, 9 Hawk, 10 Chosen. Might put Miguel over Silver, but we'll leave it like that. Yes, Mr. Han deserves to be. He might be over Mike, but nah. I'll keep Mike Barnes over him. Sam's fine there. Should I move Wolf into C? I might move Kumiko and Allie. Might move Wolf to B, maybe. Yeah, that's the tier list. I am going to bump. We need to put all the next Karate Kid characters there because they are just written horribly. They're just terribly written. Obviously, Julie's not that bad. I might put her over. At least he was. At least 2010 Karate Kid was entertaining. Next Karate Kid's really bad. Might move down Sid. No, we'll keep him there. At least it's funny. Yeah, that's my tier list. Axel is definitely the best fighter, but honestly, he doesn't have a lot of personality compared to Quan. Yeah, this one's just based on just characters. Next week's live, I'm gonna do a fighter tier list because I saw one that I really like and I want to use. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much my tier list. Did the best I could with it. Could move Snake to horrible, but I'm probably not. I think this is fine. Um, yeah, let's get into the NBA Finals. Um, um, all right, so forgot where we left off. Wednesday. Okay, so game 4 was the other day. Thunder struggled all game. It came back to tie it. Jalen Williams was phenomenal. Shea turned things around. 20 from Caruso off the bench. Siakam a 20. Halliburton not being aggressive enough. 18, 12, and 17 for Obi. So huge bounce back game for the Thunder. Game 6 hasn't happened yet. Game 6 is on Thursday. Where the hell is Game 5? So you got Siakam, 28. Pacers were getting annihilated, and then they came back, but it was too late. 40 points from Jalen Williams. I thought he was phenomenal. SGA was great, 31 points. But Thunder are one win away from their first championship as the Thunder. They haven't won since they were Seattle. Um, but then we have Stanley Cup Finals. The Florida Panthers are your back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals champions, so congrats to them. They won it in Game 6, 5-1. So congrats to them. Happy for Brad Marchand, former Boston Bruin. And my Red Sox made the dumbest trade ever. They traded Rafael Devers for a bag of chips, literally. And Red Sox got annihilated by the Mariners, I think. Yeah, they got destroyed 8-0. Then we actually have a big trade to talk about. Desmond Bain is headed to Orlando. Um, let's see. The Desmond Bain trade is a risk the Magic had to take. But so basically, the Orlando Magic traded 4 first-round picks, unprotected, 1 pick swap to the Grizzlies for Desmond Bain, along with Caldwell Pope and Cole Anthony. Now, I give this a B plus for the Magic. Yes, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to add 3-point shooting, which is exactly what they're doing here. They're adding a 40% 3-point shooter. But at the same time, they gave up a lot to get him, like a lot. Like you're giving up 4 unprotected firsts, which I think it's hilarious that the Grizzlies got more out of Desmond Bain than the Mavericks got out of Luka Doncic. But yeah, that's a lot of firsts for a third option. But at the same time, they needed to be aggressive and get perimeter scoring. Grizzlies, this is an A plus. I think this is great for the Grizzlies. You're getting 4 unprotected firsts, so you get to use those to retool around Ja and Jaren Jackson. So we'll see what happens there. But it's really all I have for you guys for the live. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.